Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in, Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you again for those that are continuing to follow us on Facebook. We appreciate that very much. We continue to grow the show in different vehicles in any different ways that we can, and that's certainly one of them. However, we'd love to have you download the podcast. That way you can listen to the show at your convenience anytime that works for you. A couple different ways you could do that. You could go to iTunes and just type in Real Estate Radio Live. You go to Stitcher, Google Plus, any of those places and just type in Real Estate Radio Live. You'll be able to find the podcast. Or you could just go to our website at RERL-1559.NephCure. That's RERL-1559.NephCure. What we try to do is keep the show consistent to as much as we can to the days of the week and the time. So if you follow the schedule, we're typically Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, right around 3 o'clock or so Pacific Standard Time. Then we post those podcasts right afterwards, and we try to stick to that schedule for those that follow. So thank you again for those that follow on Facebook, but also don't want to forget about all those people that download those podcasts, which is really good, and those continue to grow. So we love to do that. We love to offer that for sure. Before I introduce my guest, just a reminder for those that have followed the show or maybe just tuning in for the first time or listening for the first time, almost 8 years we've had this show now with live radio and podcast, and the focus has always been the same. It hasn't changed, and the objective is education and information. So what we try really hard to do, have great guests, content, information, pass on to you, the consumer, to help you make wise decisions in and around your real estate, regardless of what that is. However, today we have what's called the Giving Back segment. And for those that have been following the show, you know that I do these from time to time as well. You might be thinking, what is that? So what that is we're committed to the community. I am, our show is, and this is a show on real estate, but we all live in the same communities. You know, most of us live in homes, condos, townhomes. Some of us rent, some of us own. The bottom line is we all live in these communities. So what we try to do is give back as much as we can in different places where we could help. And so from time to time when you will listen to the show, you'll see us doing these shows on giving back segments, and that's what we're doing today. And so we have our returning guest for, this is fourth time?
This is the
right?
fourth time.
And the final one. It's a little bit sad
right.
for you?
It is. I'm going to miss y'all.
So Kara Jones is with NephCure Kidney International. She'll talk a little about specifically the program that she's working on. And this is her fourth time on the show here in the last, about a month or so, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's been fun, and it's been rewarding also having her on, but also sharing the message. And so we're going to do that today again because the event that they've been working so hard on and getting ready to prepare for is coming up this Saturday, right?
Yes, it is.
So let's do this. If you want to, if you can, maybe introduce our guest, that special guest here today. And then you could give, as usual, give us kind of an overview of your situation, your son, kind of how it developed and where you are today, and then maybe Terri could do the same, and her friendship and how she's been able to jump in and help you so graciously.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe.
You're welcome.
I've loved every single one, and I really do appreciate the opportunity, so
Good.
Thank
You're welcome.
you. And yes, I brought my good friend Terri Molinero, and it's interesting that you mentioned community houses and everything. Terry's my neighbor, and that's how we got to be such great friends, and so it really, truly is because of the community that we've been able to get the Pig Jig off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So just real quick, I've got 4 kids, and it was my son Christian. His nickname is Cheech. He was diagnosed with a rare and chronic kidney disease when he was 2 years old. He's 18 now, so for 16 years he's been battling to keep his kidneys working. It's called Nephrotic Syndrome, and when he was just a little guy, he started having problems where his kidneys would just shut down and stop. He would basically stop peeing, and he would lose very important protein and lots of complications. There's no known cure. There's very limited treatment options, and so his struggle has just been long and hard. And I met Terri in 2005 when we both were brand new neighbors in our neighborhood, and so her son, Little Nicky, as I like to call him, him and my son Cheech, they were both 8 years old, and so they were running the neighborhood together, and we just became fast friends through those kids. And Terri has loved my kids like they're her own, and I love hers like they are my own. So she's a huge part of NephCure and a huge part of the Pig Jig.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, welcome in, Terri.
Thanks so much.
And thanks for being such a good friend. I mean, those are always good. We talked about that before we came on the show. You know, all of us are blessed and fortunate enough to have at least a handful of really good friends that, you know, are there for us when things are great and when things aren't so great, right? It's always good.
That's right.
So welcome in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. And then, you know, obviously, Kara talked a little bit about the friendship, how you guys got to know. But I would say a little bit about yourself, Terri, and then if you could talk to the fact that, you know, I mean, we have a lot of friends. All of us have friends. But, I mean, you dove into this head first, obviously 100% committed, don't have any family members or people, obviously, other than you know your friendship here with Kara, that you have this cause. But here she is donating all this time.
A ton of time.
Give us a little bit talk a little bit about that.
Well, like Kara said, we moved into the neighborhood at the same time, became really good friends. Our kids are inseparable as children, and it was actually quite a while before I even knew Christian had nephrotic syndrome, because, you know, he's just like every other little kid running around. And the first time he got sick, I mean, we were like, you know, that's when Kara explained, you know, well, we don't know what causes it.
Right.
We don't know what triggers it, you know. And, you know, watching him grow up with my kids, it's been heartbreaking at times to see his struggles. And, you know, my kids have been very supportive, but they're fortunate that they don't have any of that to deal with. And then as he was growing up, you know, we kept praying that, you know, he would basically outgrow it, because there's no cure. And, you know, as he became a teenager, you know, I mean, I see the burdens that the parents had been bearing as, you know, the caregivers, and suddenly it starts transferring to the child because he's becoming more of a grown-up. And the weight that is on him, sort of wanting to not have to be sick and not have to explain what he goes through. He just wants to be a normal kid. And, you know, that was right around the time that Kara started the walks, you know, 8 years ago. And then watching him as he's getting ready to go off to college and realize that he might not have that same experience, you know, and maybe he won't grow out of it. And it was like, we need to do more. And so it just became so urgent that we wanted to find a cure and wanted to do more. And so we've just been really dedicated to trying to grow this and just support NephCure that is dedicated to finding better treatments and a cure. And it just seemed like the logical, not even logical, it's just where my heart took me, you know. It's
a
like
natural thing, it sounds like.
Right? I mean, I
thing.
love that kid and just so much want him to flourish and have all the life's experiences that we all had growing up. One experience was Kara was going away and they were going back to visit one of their other kids in college. So Christian was going to stay with us, and they were only gone for a few days. And I think the second day he started to not feel so well. But he didn't share that with me. He called Kara, and she called and said, okay, he's not feeling so good. He wants to sleep in his own bed because he was staying at our house. I was like, all right. And the fear that I was like, okay. It was just like, I can't imagine that she lives with that every day.
Yeah.
You know, what if, you know? And I had all the numbers for the doctors and all that, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to have to do, and what's going to happen? And I think that also was very eye-opening. You know, as much as I would be there to support her when she was going through it, it's nothing to compare to when it was like, oh, this is now my responsibility for these couple days, that it really hit home even more, you know, about what they bear and just what that does to their child, and having to watch him going through that.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear. And we talked about this before on the previous shows, but in general, there's something that for most people, most of us, when we give back in different levels or capacities, whether it's for our own family or friends or whatever, there's something that's very good for the soul. when you do that, too. I mean, all of us are busy, right? We all have our own challenges. I don't care what anybody says, I always say.
Yeah.
Right.
When someone says they're perfect, just run away. Run fast because something's going on.
Right. I so agree with that. Oh, my God. Yes.
So, no, that's something good to just help in any way you can. And really, it's a great testimony to your friendship and the fact that it did come natural. And not only that, what it does, too, it shows the rest of the community, your kids, your children, other people around you, neighbors. It's just this unbelievable extension, isn't it, that people see and they understand of how important that is.
Absolutely.
The whole takes a village thing.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
And as the boys got older, getting them to participate in what we were doing, we reached out a lot to the parents and said, we really need them to come and support because, Christian didn't want the limelight. The last thing he wanted was an event about his condition.
Sure.
And it was amazing how the community rallied and the number of parents that made a big effort and the boys that willingly were there to support and just rally around. I mean, it does take a village.
That's a good point. I don't know if we talked about it much, but I just got thinking that this is really good for young kids, right? Young adults and young kids to get involved too, isn't it? I mean, talk about something that's real life and does something. The sooner you could get all of our children younger and involved with giving back and caring and helping others is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Well, the secret is that it's our dream.
Tell us the secret.
I know. It's our dream that our kids will, in several years, step up to the plate and kind of take this baby on.
Some method behind this madness a little bit. Okay.
We're going to lay some really good foundation.
We're lighting the torch, but we're planning to pass it off.
Yes.
I love it. Well, let's talk about the big event. So maybe, Terri, you could give the reminders again of where this all started and then how you guys brought it locally, and then give us the kind of the rundown of this weekend, what's coming, and all the different wonderful things going around.
Sure, and chime in if I forget something. So, it's the Silicon Valley Pig Jig, this Saturday, October 6th. The doors open at 1 o'clock. They close at 9. We've got our live music starting at 1. We've got 20 different vendors coming, so you can get a head start on some fall or holiday shopping. We have a beer garden with 9 different local breweries that'll be there. Turkey Mike's Barbecue will be cooking. We also have 20 different barbecue teams that are competing in a barbecue competition. We've got kids under 12 are free. There's a kids zone, so that'll be good.
That's fun.
The general admission tickets are $20. The beer garden tickets are $40, and there's a few limited VIP tickets. Those are $150. Nice. Yes, it all started back in Tampa with the Tampa Pig Jig. A group of guys just felt compelled because of something that happened to their friend, a very serious case of nephrotic syndrome, and they started this event 8 years ago, and their event is coming up towards the end of October. I think it's October 20th, and they are going to raise $1 million and are expecting over 8,000 people to come.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wonderful.
I know.
This Saturday coming, and it's not too late. Obviously, it's not too late to donate. All the different ways, of course. Someone could go online and donate. Yes. They could show up and participate, which is even better because then you get all the great food and music. And you might want to talk about the music, too. I don't know these names, but I know people will know these names. I mean, when I told my daughters, my wife, and other people, they knew the names, but I didn't. So there's something.
We'll cut you some slack. Sounds like your better halves knew.
Right.
Yeah. You want to tell them?
Sure. We've got our partner KRTY that helped us to secure Dylan Scott as our headliner, who just climbed the charts to number 2 with his hit song Hooked. And we have Haley and Michaels that both grew up on the peninsula, and they are fantastic married duo. And cute. Yes, and just fantastic talent, and they're coming. And we have Ryan Scripps, who was a contestant on The Voice on Team Blake.
Wow.
And he did fabulously, and now he has been making the rounds all through lots of different events in the area, so people might have seen him if they've been anywhere this summer that was, outside with any kind of live venue. And then we have some locals that are big hits, Big Daddy Rockers, which is a fun, lively band that is going to bring it, and Erica Sunshine Lee, who is she travels all over and is a wonderful personality.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do that, if one of you guys could give out the website. I guess that's the best thing, the website, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's the best place to go.
You can get your tickets from the website. You can also make a donation. It's SiliconValleyPigJig.com.
How could you forget that?
I know. It's kind of a mouthful, but you can't forget it. So check it out, and you'll find the day of schedule. You'll find the music. And if you have questions, you can always email us. There's the email address on there as well, too.
Very good. All right, we're going to take a quick break. It's for the podcast, so for those that are following us on Facebook, stick with us. And it's just about a minute or so, and we'll come back and continue. Thank you. We'll be back in just a minute.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
How would you like the opportunity to secure a record low interest rate while buying and or selling your home? In addition, how would you like to save 20% or more on your entire real estate transaction? Finally, how would you like to bundle all your real estate services in one location? Well, now you can achieve this with BundleSelect.com. That's right, save on real estate lending and title. With BundleSelect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. BundleSelect's hand-picked team of experts will save you thousands of dollars by bundling real estate lending and title services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. I'm here to tell you BundleSelect.com is the best way to save money on real estate. By bundling services, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Visit BundleSelect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker License Number 004666902. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you again for those that are following us on Facebook. We appreciate it. Just a reminder, too, for anyone that's making comments, feedback, if you want some more additional information about the event or any of the what we're talking about today, we will get around to responding when we get a chance. And, of course, you guys will respond, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Anybody that wants to know more, how they could help. What we all know is there's so many great causes, and there's so many worthy causes, and there's thousands and thousands. But the key is pick and choose, I guess, or do the ones that work for everybody, and reach out whenever you can, when you can, on something like this. And this is a great opportunity to really go and have some fun, as I see it too. I mean, one of the neat things about these types of events, I think, is that, you know, you go listen to this great music, great food, and while you're doing a great cause and really helping someone out and helping a lot of people out, quite frankly, is, you know, you never know who you're going to meet, too. That's what I love about events like this. You know, you just don't know. Anytime you get out and do good stuff, usually good stuff happens.
So agree. Yes.
Right.
So, that's right. If it sounds like I'm trying to talk you into or twist your arm, then try to get out there and help as much as you can. So, we talked about the event, the different ways people could raise money and help. Let's spend a couple minutes now and maybe two things I'd like to talk about. And that is, one, you know, is there a cure? Are they getting closer? Or are there anything kind of the horizon that looks like maybe they're making some progress? We could talk about that. And then the other thing is I always like to mention too is, you know, speak to the people out there listening, either watching us on Facebook or later on when they download the podcast, how they may be able to help in sense of some things that they're dealing with. We talked about before, and I think it's important. A lot of people that are faced with challenges, with health challenges and all kinds of different challenges, sadly, a lot of them kind of withdraw. And it you know, it could be depressing, it could be challenging, it could be like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And so I think just the encouragement of something that you guys are doing, stepping up, stepping out, doing as much as you can. I like to think if you get that message out to someone might be listening to this and go, you know what, I really should do this for my son, my daughter, my aunt, my uncle, my neighbor, right? So those things could help.
Sure, definitely. And to start with your last question first, you know, Christian was sick for 6 years before I stepped up to really get involved. He got diagnosed when he was too, and so I think he was about in 4th grade. And my spirit was just broken watching him suffer. And something clicked inside me and said, I am going to do more. And that was probably the best thing that has come from his diagnosis, because it was very therapeutic for me, even though it was super hard at times. You know, it's like, why am I adding this on to dealing with insurance, doctor's appointments, health, all of it? I'm just adding another layer of something I have to do. But it was an amazing gift because Terri and I were going to be friends anyway, but Terri and the other 20-some-odd ladies that have jumped on board to help with all the events we've done, it's just been so, I can't find the words to describe the gift that they have given and continue to give to me and my family, So
Wonderful.
If that can inspire anyone, I would say give it a try. And you, on the other end, I would hope there's been some,
That's
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I personally am one that doesn't like to ask for a lot of help. That's just how I run my life. Yeah. But, this was very easy for me, and I try and explain that to others. It's like, this is not an ask for me, but let me tell you why you should help and why we need to do things to help others and what these other families are going through. And I have to say, the other patients that Kara has reached and patient families and the gift of that community that she has made possible for them is just priceless. To listen to them in a room, you think you're with a bunch of doctors. The things that roll off their tongue, I just sit there, my head starts to spin. Have you tried this? Have you tried, and they just support one another, and it's really amazing.
So they sound pretty impressive. It makes people want to donate, right, when they hear all this?
It makes people realize how fortunate they are that they don't have that in their life.
That's
and how you really do want to help for that reason.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Any progress on raising money? This is great. There's other places. Obviously, you guys have taken on the Bay Area chapter. And by the way, this is going to be an annual thing, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. Okay. So maybe you'll invite me back next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throw that down there now.
Maybe we should put it on the calendar now.
I like that idea.
There you go.
Yes, there's a lot of exciting research going on. Terri's so committed. She actually flew to Chicago with me in February. Last February to come. NephCure was hosting an event, and there were some doctors there that were talking about the research that's going on, and it really is very exciting. There's several different clinical trials happening here in the Bay Area with patients and pharmaceutical companies, and some of them have progressed to the stage 3 clinical trial. Am I saying that right? Yeah.
Right.
And that's like really advanced in the hopes that there'll be some new treatments, because currently there is no first line of medicine that they give. Prednisone is the one, because sometimes that does help, but that is just so hard on a person's body. Yeah, and so many of the other immunosuppressants are just as bad, if not worse. Yeah.
Well, tell us how your son's doing now. And what he's doing now.
Yeah, thank you. He's a freshman at the University of Kentucky. He wanted to go away to school, and he chose University of Kentucky because I do have family there. My sister-in-law's a nurse, and so it's really good. He's already been sick a couple of times, and they have come to the rescue and helped him out a little bit. But he is doing the very best he can to just be a normal kid and go to his classes and stay up late and, all the stuff that you do.
That's important. And I know that one of the first times we met, I'm not sure if we talked about it on the show, but you had mentioned that how important it was when the doctors shared with you that as tough as it may be, you have to treat him like a normal kid, right? And that could be tough, right? Oh, that could be tough.
Yes, especially when he was little and he was on the prednisone, and then he would throw a temper tantrum, and it would be my nature to be like, it's because of the medicine, and could not fall back on that. He still had to get punished, because that was just not appropriate behavior. But that was very hard, and I can see where some parents, might fall into that. And I know throughout the years there were times I probably did, too. But they just want to be treated normal.
Now, I can imagine, because I fall into those traps without even the illnesses and the sicknesses with our kids.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
It's easy to do sometimes, so I could only imagine. So there's some good news on some of the treatment fronts, obviously, when those comes up. So I'm guessing as some of the treatments or the test comes up, are you guys notified automatically? How does that work?
Yeah, so through NephCure, they have a pretty big patient registry, and so we will get notifications if there are clinical trials where Christian perhaps might be a match. A long time ago, he was able to participate in one. It was done at the University of Michigan, and it was very interesting on like the psychological effects of having a chronic illness, and he would report, of course I never read them because it was private, but he would report on how he would feel, like his emotions with maybe possibly depression or sadness and how he wanted to be treated. And so I thought that was a really good one for them to do. But then, of course, there's others, you know, that are more related towards medicines to help his kidneys work.
Very good.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that, I mean, people get involved here from the Bay Area, of course. So how many, there's a handful of people or so in the Bay Area that you know of that are afflicted with the same disease and challenges. They get involved with this. And then there's a network. So I guess the other thing, maybe share with people, is it the same website that people go to, or it's a different website? Let's say someone has their family member, friends, aunts, uncles, neighbors that has the same issue or potentially the same. Where would they go?
They would definitely need to go to NephCure Kidney International. If you can't remember that, but you remember Silicon Valley Pig Jig, you can send an email and I can connect you. Definitely, yes.
Great.
Either way, but NephCure, it's NephCure. NephCure Kidney International would be a great place to start, and there's a lot of resources on there for adults and for kids.
That's good. And the one thing that's great, even though there's a bunch of challenges with social media, we have our share of issues, but the one thing about social media is great, also the support groups via that channel, right?
Oh.
So I'm sure that there's great support groups versus, you know, with the social media outlets.
Definitely. Terri knows this, but whenever we have our Pig Jig meetings, I always try to give a little update on someone's child or some story that, because I am involved in so many of the support groups on social media, and there's so many other moms and dads out there that are dealing with a lot more than I'm dealing with my son. And so I just try to share the story and help spread the word that, you know, we're not just doing this for the kids just in this area, but there's so many other kiddos out there that struggle.
One thing you said a few minutes ago, I think it's worth repeating and talking about, is the timing. You said, you know, it was about 6 years before you had, you know, whether it's called the energy, the intuition, or whatever it takes. Timing is so much to everything in life, and this is no different.
Yeah.
So one thing maybe you could speak to someone that's out there listening, watching, you know, it's easy to beat ourselves up. So maybe someone has this disease or something else, and it's been a couple of years, and these poor parents could be thinking, you know, God, I should be doing something like this. What's wrong with me, right? I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but we all do a good job at the whole guilt stuff, right?
Sadly.
Oh, yeah.
So that was important, I think. And so maybe just remind others, if you will, that, you know, it's not a time clock, right? I mean, it could be a year, 2 years, could be 2 months, could be 2 days. It's an individual thing, I would guess.
Oh, yeah.
And it has to be that way.
Oh, absolutely. Timing is everything, right? And when the timing works for you and you feel compelled, or there's a calling, or however you're inspired, that's the time to just at least give it a shot.
Right.
It might not be your thing, you know, but if you feel compelled to step up, and if you don't, that's okay too, because I understand the burden to take care of a chronically ill child is hard. I mean, and that's just putting it lightly.
Right.
So if now's not the right time, that is okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. But if the time does turn, and it is, give it a shot, because like I said, it's been weirdly enough like a gift. Yeah,
I could see that. Terri, you mentioned a little bit earlier about how it affected you and how it's easier because you feel like you're not asking for the help, and this is really a great cause. You're saying, hey, it's not me. Can you talk about any other things that has kind of changed you in a way, or brought things more to your attention, or by going through this and helping out at such a level? You know, maybe share with us, what has it done for you? And is it do you look at life differently? Do you have more patience? A lot of people tell stories about all kinds of different things, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
Sure.
But I don't know, that was a mouthful, so maybe you can answer, speaking of that.
Well, you know, I'm only one of the people on the committee.
Right.
I mean,
That's true.
You know, Kara and I have been working on this with this whole group, and we were saying that if we had tried to go out and put a group together as fantastic as we have, we would have not been successful. Like, we would have had some that wouldn't have carried the weight that we needed them to in order to make this a success. And in fact, we are just so blessed with how many people have just given of themselves, and just seeing that community really does make an impact and has made an impact on me. Like you said, you feel lucky when you have all different levels of friends, and what they are capable of doing and what's going on. And everybody has their own struggles. But, by seeing sort of how everybody can rally together, it's very reassuring. I mean, just in life that you have that. And like Kara said, sometimes maybe a parent might not feel like they can get involved because they are so overwhelmed. But I think having support is really gives you almost a little bit of energy, and people do want to, you don't want to ask for the help, but people acknowledge, what you're going through and really do rally around. And I think that's just, it's priceless.
It's amazing how many people do want to help. It's usually us that have the hang up, right? Oh, I'm not going to ask, and I don't know this.
Right.
The other thing is that other than doing something for us, internally and making you feel good, there's something to me about every once in a while. I know I do this myself, like, it's maybe selfish is not the right word. It's so easy to get hung up in our own thing, right? And I'm not saying that life's not challenging and work and life and relationships and all that, but my point is we all should ever take a break every once in a while and say, let's get off myself for a while and what can I do for someone else? Because typically it's good. And it makes you feel good, and you realize how important it is.
So true.
Because we could all get hung up on that sometime. Well, we have a couple minutes left. I'd like to, if we can, maybe two things. We'll talk a little bit more, remind people where they could go, how they could help, donate, volunteer, those types of things. But then also, is it going to be the same time pretty much next year? I know it's still a long ways away, but you guys try to keep it the same month and all that?
Yeah, we're definitely going to keep it the same time. So I'm fairly certain it'll be the first Saturday in October of next year. So mark your calendars.
Yeah. So one more time, let's give everybody the good, juicy details of the event and, where to go, the website, how they could help. Give us one more good.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you so much. It's
You're
the
welcome.
Silicon Valley Pig Jig this Saturday at San Jose Giants Muni Stadium. We've got live music starting at 1 o'clock. Oh, we have Adam the Dancing Cowboy in between sets, so that's going to be fun. Kids Zone, kids 12 and under are free. There's going to be 20 different barbecue teams competing in the amateur barbecue competition. We have vendors coming. Tickets are available online right now. They range from $20 for general admission, $40 for beer garden. There's a few VIP tickets left at $150. Day of, tickets will be for sale, but they'll be a little more expensive, so get them while you can. And it's all at the San Jose Giants Muni Stadium. The weather's supposed to be lovely.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really nice. Good.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes September, October are the best times of year, isn't it?
Yes.
It could be really good weather. Very good. And then I guess the last thing is, do you have anybody, there's probably hundreds of people I know, but this is always a good time to mention any other people, your group entirely, names, anything you guys want to mention of others that have helped you. So if they're listening to this, that might make them feel good.
Yeah.
Sponsors?
So, yeah,
there
definitely.
You go.
The Valley Foundation was our main gold sponsor, and so we're super grateful for their support. We've got Sprig Electric, Alpha Graphics, Sunnyvale, Enterprise Trust and Investment Company, and Lee's Imperial Welding. So thank you guys so much. Yes, and the committee, the Pig Jig Girls, as we like to call ourselves. There's a lot of us.
Sounds like some kind of musical group or something.
I know. We could do that. I like that idea. But the volunteer girls have just done an amazing job, and signage and merchandise. I would be afraid I'd forget someone's name, but everyone has truly stepped up to the plate, and we could not do it without all of us together. Right.
And our partners.
Oh, yeah, KRTY and the San Jose Giants. They're super fun to work with, and we're just grateful for all of their support.
Very good. Well, it is on the final stretch, closing stretch. Here we go. So good luck, ladies, as you embark on this. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of fun, but then there's probably going to be this level of relief, too. That's a lot of work, right? When it's all over.
I know.
Then you could breathe for a little while until sometime next year.
For a week or so.
I know, right?
So good luck with everything. Wish you all the best this weekend.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks again for tuning in. Again, for more information, you could always go to reradiolive.com. Until next time, take care. Have a great afternoon.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com.